Welcome back to another episode of Bullyball. Today, we're going to be breaking down this 49ers versus Vikings preseason game. So, we'll be going over who looked good, who looked okay, and then, of course, some of the players that looked kind of rough. Alrighty? So, let's get into it.
Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana, check up on my ear. Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana, I'm about to cut the...
As usual, you have me, Alex, my co-host Joseph. How you doing?
Doing good, still a little tired. Stayed up late watching the game. Probably a little worse for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I ended up going to bed around like 4 in the mornings when the game ended over here. So,
Yeah, it's crazy.
but it was a good game, exciting. Feel like there's a lot of things to look forward to. So let's the final score, I believe, was 17-7, right?
Yep.
17-7. The offense on both sides kind of looked dull throughout most of the game. We obviously had a couple touchdowns, couple mess ups, but kind of dull. It was definitely more of like a boring game for sure, I would say, but there's a lot to take away from it. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into the players that looked good. Who were some players that caught your eye?
One thing before we jump into that, if you had to watch that Vikings stream, God, it was terrible. They interviewed every single starting player on the Vikings, and we're trying to watch the game, and they have like 3/4 of the screen on the Viking player. That was terrible. If you watch a Viking stream, leave a comment and let us know how bad it was, because it was rough.
I thought it was hilarious when Danny Gray got that 2-point conversion and did the gritty, and then that guy's like, "Oh man, you're really gonna come in here and do the gritty? Come on, okay." I'm like, all right, what are you guys gonna do about it? Stupid.
It was hilarious. So you said good players first?
Yeah.
So we'll jump into offensive players first, and then we'll head to the defensive side. So obviously we had two starters play on offense in this game only, and one of them was Spencer Burford, and I think he played pretty well. I believe he gave up one pressure on 33 reps, which is very good. And as you know, the guy across from him playing nose tackle was T.Y. McGill, who looked like Aaron Donald against the center, which we'll speak on that a little more later. But no pressures on, or just one pressure from Spencer Burford. Played well. You like to see the progression and the growth. I did see a lot of pressure from that right side, and I thought it was on Burford, but after seeing people post and talk about it, it wasn't him. So that's my first player.
Yep, definitely. Burford looking solid. He's going to be a big factor in this upcoming season. We need him to man that right side and be firm in there. One guy I thought looked pretty good to me was quarterback Brock Purdy. I thought him and Nate Sudfeld looked pretty similar. I don't think there's a big gap between the two of them talent-wise. The only thing that's going to be going against Sudfeld or going against Purdy is Sudfeld did get that $2 or $3 million guaranteed contract for this year. So if the Niners were thinking about moving on, I think that would be a kind of significant hurdle. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you don't see much of a difference when either of them are in. The one thing that I noticed, though, is there was one play where Nate Sudfeld had rolled left, and he had a wide open first down run, and he threw it, and he threw it in the dirt to the receiver, and it was terrible. But accuracy wise, they're both pretty similar to me. I like Purdy a little more, though, just because he has that little Johnny Manziel-esque to him, where he can escape a little bit of pressure and stuff. Not a big arm, obviously, but he gets the job done.
Definitely a lot more athletic than Nate Sudfeld is, in my opinion, and he's a lot younger too. So I personally prefer Purdy over Sudfeld, but I mean, Shanahan said that everything's not set in stone yet when it comes to those two, so we'll see. Who knows? Maybe we keep 3 on the roster this year. I doubt it, but possible. Um, I just want to share a little Purdy dime real quick. Can you see that?
Interesting too, yes, is if Purdy is cut and tried to be put on the practice squad, I think he gets picked up.
Yep.
If
I agree.
Sudfeld is cut and tried to be put on the practice squad, I don't know if somebody picks him up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough because you remember when we re-signed him this offseason, supposedly there's like 2 or 3 other teams that believed he could be a starter. Do you remember that report?
But he was on the practice squad all last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I believe that report.
Yeah. So here's Purdy right before halftime, a little dot that he had, 3rd and 12.
Right, so 3 receiving options right. Patrick.
Right to Malik Turner between 2 guys to throw that in there. That was ballsy and pretty accurate. I mean, look at that throw. Put it up high too between the 2 guys. Like, that was an impressive throw from Purdy. He definitely looked a lot better than I expected.
The
And if
whole
you also
game.
take a look here, watch the center. We're going to talk about this guy in a little bit, but just watch the center.
Hey, T.Y. McGill looked like Aaron Donald in this game, man.
Especially those Vikings reporters, too. You think they have the next Lawrence Taylor or something.
He's an 8-year veteran, too. But, yeah, Purdy was impressive. He looks very accurate. And he had a lot of drops in this game as well. His stats weren't as good as they should have been for both quarterbacks. But all right. My next person, I'll go ahead and go with Danny Gray. He only had like 2 receptions for like 30 yards or something like that. But the dude just continues to make plays for the team. He had that 2-point conversion where he got wide open. And the thing I like this game is it wasn't just the deep bombs that he was catching. He was getting open on short routes, which is what everyone said he needed to improve on. And then also, he had that deep shot where he did catch the ball. It just was a little outside, and he wasn't able to get his feet down in bounds. So, dude looks like it's early, but he looks like he could be a lot better of a wide receiver than where he was drafted.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, last game he had that pass from Trey Lance that he was out of bounds for. You remember on that like out route,
Yep.
but he still caught it. And in this game, he had a similar thing where he caught it, but he was out of bounds. But I still think those are pretty encouraging because those show his hands. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's dropping these passes. He's still catching them even though they're out of bounds. So if the quarterback can put it on him a little bit earlier, he's going to make that catch 9 times out of 10. Yeah, he's pushing his way up the roster, in my opinion, too. I would say that he probably won't be the number 3 receiver to start the season, but halfway through the season, he's going to be starting number 3 receiver. I think he'll take over Ray McLeod and Juwan Jennings as well, who we'll talk about a little bit later.
I can agree with that at this moment, yes.
Yep. All right, and one player that I thought looked good, of course, we touched on him last week. We'll touch on him again. We've talked about him a lot on our channel, is Jason Poe. I know me and you were talking about it during the game, and it does seem like as soon as Jason Poe comes into the game, the run game just instantly gets better. You know what I mean? You're seeing these holes. You're seeing him like constantly getting up to the second level, like blocking off linebackers, which you love to see what the Niners need. You see him kicking players, getting out to the sidelines, getting those DNs, getting the corners, his athleticism shows. And it's not like he's getting bullied in pass protection either. He's holding up. I think he had 0 pressures this game.
He
And he
did.
probably had like 1 or 2 pressures last game, and that was it. So Jason Poe is looking extremely solid. And Joseph and Brian Peacock kind of talked about it yesterday on Twitter. Peacock said something to, let me see if I can pull up the tweets. Peacock said something that Poe was in at left guard instead of right guard this game. And then Joseph said that the run game instantly gets better the moment Poe is on the field. And Brian Peacock said, Poe doesn't lose reps. It's kind of crazy. Don't see how the 49ers can feel confident waiving him. And I agree 100%. I think if you waive Poe, he's going to get picked up by somebody. There's no way he'll make it back to the practice squad at all. So I think you have to figure out a way to keep him. I don't know how. Keep Colton McKivitz, and then you can maybe keep it's going to be tough because that area, somebody surprising is probably going to have to get cut if you want to keep him, though. So it's going to be interesting. What are your thoughts?
And I don't think it's surprising. The 49ers O-line is not good. So it may be like, oh my God, Jalen Moore got cut, or I don't care,
maybe,
man.
Or something. Maybe
they're not that good. It's you keep the physical guy. He can move people. The 49ers O-line is having a lot of trouble moving people out of the holes. He's probably the best O-lineman at moving people. He's probably the best O-lineman at anchoring, other than obviously the best player in the NFL, Trent Williams. And that's what a lot of people had said coming into the draft is, hey, he can't anchor. He's smaller than these guys, but he can't anchor. And we've seen both games, and they have been saying in training camp, he's the best O-lineman on the team at anchoring. It would really be a disgrace if they cut him, because I think he is probably the second best interior O-lineman on the team at the moment, but behind Spencer Burford, who is also a rookie. And that's just me saying what I think. But
and I know that me and you've talked about it too, that they need to get Poe some reps with the ones, let's see if it's because he's looking this good because he's playing the second and third stringers, or if he's actually this good, like if he can hang with the ones. So I think he definitely needs to get reps in there, because Aaron Banks looked very suspect in pass protection to me, who we'll talk about it more later, but I don't think it should be a lock with Aaron Banks being that guard. Will he be a lock? More than likely, just because of roster politics, but I think it deserves a second look.
And I think there is another position we'll talk about, roster politics as well, that we'll see how the roster breaks down when it comes and is all said and done, but I think that might be a big deciding factor.
Mm-hmm. So here we're talking about Jason Poe right here playing left guard. So last game he played right guard. This game he's playing left guard. Looked extremely solid in both, which is encouraging, because if you're going to be a depth O-lineman, you need to have versatility. So that's key that he has it in both guard spots. And here's just a little kick. Boom. That's what we saw him do against Alabama when he was in college, and against all the other teams that we played, or that he played. So it's really not surprising to me,
It's
crazy
how it's translating, small school guy, similar to Trey Lance, small school guys destroying the competition at the FCS level, coming to the NFL and doing the same exact thing. You'd love to see it.
Yep, I agree.
All right, and then I'll go ahead with my next guy. Tanner Hudson, tight end. He caught 4 passes. I don't know for how many yards. They say he has the best hands on the team, but he did have one very bad drop. It probably would have been a pretty big gain as well, but he looked sure-handed. He was getting open. And in a tight end room where nobody really has created any sort of like separation of who's going to win the number 2 or 3 spots, he's kind of stepping up. Don't know how his run blocking is, haven't watched him enough to see, but it is encouraging, his pass catching reps. You're muted.
Yeah, I agree. I've been big and kind of preaching it this offseason that the Niners need to find like a second actual threat at tight end with Kittle. Not saying Hudson's going to be that, but he did look really good. So looked better than Ross Dwelly, in my opinion, and Charlie Warner's more of a blocking tight end than anything. So like Tanner Hudson. Moving on. Do you have any other offensive players besides the Bully of the Week?
Yes, I do. I have Malik Turner. He if the 49ers decide to keep 6 wide receivers, it's probably like a lock that it'll be Malik Turner at this point. He forced a fumble on special teams. I believe it was in punt coverage, and that's a great sign. And he did have that 3rd and 12 catch for 17 yards on offense. So
Which was
encouraging.
the Purdy clip that we
Yep.
showed. That was Malik Turner, the receiver, that caught that.
So if the 49ers keep 6 wide receivers, I believe that person will be Malik Turner.
Yep. I think we brought him in too this offseason because of his special teams capabilities, I'm pretty sure. So then the last offensive player that we thought looked extremely well. This guy is also going to be our Bully of the Week. This is a segment that we have talking about a Niner player that emphasizes that bully ball style of play, just running through people, big hits, trucking people, things like that, just putting people in the dirt. So the Bully of the Week this week is going to be running back Jordan Mason. Looked like the best running back on the field, better than Trey Sermon, better than Ty Davis Price. He looked like the best running back out there. He had a few good runs, which I'm going to show real quick.
Another guy
right.
that the roster politics, this is the guy I was talking about, are
Yep.
pretty frustrating with.
Yep. So here's Jordan Mason right here. Here's one of the runs. Little pitch to the left. Breaks 1, 2, 3, and then runs through that guy. You know what I mean? That's hard running. That's what the Niners look for. Get to the outside and just hit it. Get north now.
And you
And
see the
he's breaking
speed.
these arm tackles. Yeah.
You see the speed to get past that. What is it, linebacker right there, 47?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that someone else we're going to talk about hasn't showed.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him a little later.
So there's one of the runs that we wanted to highlight on there. And then there you had another one a little bit further down in the game. This is to kind of close the game out. We're down in the red zone. And Jordan Mason has this run.
By Kyle Shanahan, the other is Nate Sudfeld. Handoff goes.
Just breaking tackles. I mean, look how many tackles he broke right there. And he's not the biggest running back either. He's a smaller guy.
Is he?
Just like I'm pretty sure, isn't he?
I'll check.
He kind of reminds me of like Jeff Wilson, his rookie year. When Jeff Wilson was a rookie, Jeff Wilson was running like this, and I'm pretty sure he wore number 41 as well.
Yeah, that's what Croc had said too. He said he looks like a Jeff Wilson clone.
Yeah.
No,
but
he's
he
huge.
looks like. Oh, is he? How big is he?
6'1", 223.
Jordan Mason?
Yes.
Oh, geez. No, I guess he's the bigger back, but he's fast. as you can see, you see
The
it in the
49ers
game.
roster has him at 5'11", 223. So he weighs a lot, but he's not tall.
Shorter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look at that run one more time, you know. And look who opened up that hole for him. You see Jason Poe right here working down on the nose tackle, then getting to the second level, sling off that backer, and Jordan Mason does the rest.
And it's consistent, man. Poe is the only one consistently getting to that second level.
Yep.
But
So
yeah,
Jordan Mason, bully of the week, running through arm tackles, which you love to see. It's what the Niners need in their running backs. So Jordan Mason, bully of the week for week 2 of preseason. Week 1 was Spencer Burford.
and yeah, Jordan Mason, man, he just brings the dynamic that you want in this offense. You want someone that's going to get north and south with the explosion. You know, he ran like, I believe, a 4.59 or something, so he's not fast, but you can't tell right there because he just explodes through the hole. And even on that first run, he beats the guy to the outside. He has enough speed, and he's very decisive. He also had a run. It was, I believe, like 3rd and 3, where, you know, he had a tiny little hole, and he just shot through it, got the first down, which is what you expect. And it's another guy that I hope roster politics don't make him not make this team, because you will see him on another 53-man roster if he's not on ours.
Yeah, definitely. If you try to waive him, he'll definitely get picked up by another team without a doubt right away. Yep. So now we'll move on to the defensive side. Players that looked good. Go ahead. You can kick us off.
Obviously, we got to start with the guy that has been getting a ton of backlash since he came into the NFL, and that's Juwan Kinlaw. You know, drafted to replace DeForest Buckner. Obviously, once that happens, you're already going to be under a microscope. Dealt with a ton of injuries, finally healthy. You saw the clip last week that we showed of him walking off the, or no, this was it earlier in the week? The pregame primer showed the clip of him walking off the practice field. Dude, it looks
Something
like
like
he's the damn Hulk out there. You know, he's like 6'5", like 330 with a 6-pack. And he was stuffing the run the whole first half. He was creating interior pressure. Kellen Mond was under duress the whole time, and he even got a sack. He used a pass rush move, which he doesn't normally do, so that's very, very encouraging.
Yep. Here's some highlights from Juwan Kinlaw's game yesterday. Let me pull it up. So here it was a near sack. You know, it was good pressure that he got. Good little swim move. You know, gets right over that guard and then gets in the face of Mannion, who has to throw it out quick because obviously you see a huge dude like Kinlaw coming at you. You're going to want to get rid of that ball. And then here's a Kinlaw's sack.
Hit and sack. Juwan Kinlaw.
Run it back real quick. Doesn't show the pass, the move that he got.
Does it show from the other angle? It might. Oh no, it doesn't.
No. Do you have one pulled up of it?
I don't.
No.
I can though, if you're gonna show something else.
Let me see. Yeah, so that was the only one I have. So, you know, we talked about it kind of in the pregame primer that we wanted to see more out of Kinlaw because we thought he didn't look too great last week. And he definitely looked a lot better this week. So that's encouraging, you know, knocking off that rust. That's what we wanted to see from him. So I'm glad that he was able to show out for this game.
He is right here. You see him?
Yep.
Just beats his man to the inside and gets a sack.
Yep. It's good to see, you know, we're going to need him to step up for sure this year. So it's good to see that he balled out this game. Like I said, we wanted to see more out of him, and he showed up. So it was good to see. It was interesting, though, because he did end up playing most of the first half as well. So, we'll let you guys interpret that the way you want to, but definitely interesting.
And he is a guy that needs reps, so it is good to see him out there, though.
Yeah, definitely. He did say that he's like pain free and he's felt like he's never had before, so that's good. Said that he's having fun again. So moving on the defensive side of the ball, one player that I thought looked extremely good, who was also in contention for Bully of the Week, is defensive end Drake Jackson. Our second round pick. He played extremely well. He had a lot of plays where he was in there disrupting them. He had a pass deflection, had a couple tackles, couple near sacks. Looked really good. We talked about in the pregame primer that we thought he was going to be the first D end off the bench after Ebukam and Bosa, and I think he definitely put up a good showing to prove that point. Let me pull up some of the clips from him. Do you want to touch on Drake Jackson in the meantime?
Yeah, the dude he's a playmaker, He's gonna make a ton of plays this year. He's gonna get a ton of near sacks. I feel like he's gonna be pretty similar, obviously not the same player, but to Nick Bosa's rookie year. Do you remember how many times Nick Bosa was so close to getting sacks, but he just couldn't finish them at the beginning of the year?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're going to see that with Drake Jackson this year, but the dude, he's just around the ball every play and around the quarterback.
Yep, you saw him that first one. He almost got the sack. This was a good play to shed that tight end and tackle, and make the tackle right there. So that was a good play. Two good plays from Drake Jackson right there. Here's another one. Slips a little bit, but still almost makes that sack on the little. That's what caused that interception. Was his pressure right in the face of Mond, made him get rid of the ball. I think he might have hit his arm or something, tipped it maybe. So Drake Jackson balling out, definitely proving his point to be the first the end off the bench from after Ebukam and Nick Bosa.
Definitely looks a lot better than his draft position.
Yep, definitely.
And then my next guy will stay on the defensive line. I am going with Jordan Willis. He started at the end opposite of Drake Jackson, and he was terrorizing that left tackle the whole first quarter of that game. I don't think he got a sack, but he was right there 15 times it felt like. And I do have one play, obviously not a lot of tape of him on Twitter, but I have one to show. 1 second. This happened literally almost every play. It was a pass rep that he was in. He's over here. You see him?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just harassing that left tackle the whole game.
Yeah. That was another guy that we talked about in the pregame primer that we wanted to see more out of because we didn't feel like a lot of the DNs actually played very well that first game, but he definitely looked a lot better this week.
Definitely. You got anybody else on the defensive side?
Let me see. I don't believe so.
I have
Sam
one.
Womack, you didn't really hear his name much. I don't know if he played a lot. I don't remember seeing him in there too often. But some stats from this preseason was He had 24 coverage snaps, 3 targets, 0 catches allowed, and 2 picks. So that's pretty encouraging from more than likely the 49ers starting nickel corner.
And my last guy that played good on defense. Oh, I forgot one on offense. But anyways, on defense is Demo Lenore. He was playing in the slot this game, and he looked sticky in coverage. He was making plays. I think he deflected a pass, gave up a few short catches, but he looked really good in the slot. He kind of looks like that guy that can have some inside out versatility at the corner spot. And he
Yep.
might be the first corner off the bench. We'll see.
He had a great tackle too. Great tackle.
Oh yeah, on that
So,
on that tight end, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was encouraging. You want to touch on your offensive player that looked good before we move on to the guys that looked?
Yes. So I wasn't particularly watching this person, but it seemed like he played good to me because he didn't give up anything, and it looked like he was getting some push on the O-line. And that's Donovan West. He played some right guard and he played some center in the game. And when he came in at center, I felt like it was a lot better than Sutherland was doing. And when he was playing right guard, it seemed like I didn't hear his name at all or see any pressure or anything. So haven't watched the tape back, but I feel like Donovan West might have had a good game.
Yeah. All right, now we'll move on to the guys that didn't look too good. Probably touch on some of the guys that looked just like okay as well. The first guy for me that didn't look good, and it's kind of discouraging because I'm a big fan of him, is Juwan Jennings. He had a great season last year, especially towards the end in the playoffs and the end of the regular season. He was looking like the for sure, like no doubt, number 3 receiver for the team. He had that physicality. He would come up clutch on third downs. It's what you love to see. He's a bigger receiver. This little like training camp and preseason, he's been looking rough. He had a drop pass on third down yesterday, which was right in his hands. Should have been an easy catch, easy first down, and he dropped it. And that's what the reports have been throughout training camp and stuff, has been that he's been dropping the ball a lot. So that's disencouraging because I'm a huge fan of Juwan Jennings. But good news is, like we said, Danny Gray stepping up. You still have Ray McLeod as well, who's in that receiver room. What are your thoughts on Juwan?
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy to me because he was clutch last year. If it was third down in the back half of the season, you wanted it to be thrown to Juwan Jennings because you knew it was a for sure thing. And it's not the case this year. I don't know what's going on. And when he went to college, he was a quarterback and he transitioned to wide receiver. So maybe he just doesn't have the hands, Sad to see. Hope he can pick it up.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And then another guy. This was my hot take guy for this offseason. I thought he was going to come in and, show out. He was training his ass off the whole summer, working with Dalvin Cook, doing some crazy workouts in the gym, like contact balance and stuff. But that's Trey Sermon. Just uninspired, unimpressive. And I understand when the first O-line is in, they haven't looked good, but like he's not doing anything to help himself either. Doesn't look explosive, doesn't look fast. He's not hitting the hole hard. It's just, I hope the dude can show up, but he hasn't yet. And he was fighting an ankle injury from practice this week, but still, I haven't seen anything. He's on the fringe. If I'm cutting a running back right now, it's probably him.
Yeah. It's unfortunate too because I like Trey Sermon. I was a big fan of him when we drafted him. That was probably like one of my favorite draft picks of that draft. And he just hasn't been able to put it to fruition. He hasn't been able to produce the way he wants to. And maybe it was that ankle injury. Maybe it was really affecting him, and he just barely slipped by the medicals to clear, be good to go to play this game. But I think he probably looked like the worst running back out of all the running backs that played yesterday. Hasty looked good in the receiving end, and he had a couple good runs. Jordan Mason, we touched on, probably looked the best. He had a few good runs. Ty Davis Price, we can just talk about him now. Ty Davis Price was another guy that I thought looked okay. He didn't look like great. He didn't look bad. He had one good run that I'll pull up here in a second, but there was also a fourth down, and for him being the power back of the team, the bigger back that's supposed to be running people over, I felt like he was dancing too much. And we said that in the last game too against the Packers, that he probably dances too much and needs to just get north and south, and just hit that hole. Like Jordan Mason does. That's what Jordan Mason does well, in my opinion, is he gets downhill fast. You know what I mean? So Ty Davis Price and Trey Sermon, I think, probably pretty close, in my opinion. Obviously, Ty Davis Price is going to make the roster. You're not going to cut a guy that you drafted in the third round in the same year.
And
Trey
he has showed a
Sermon,
little more promise.
Yeah. Trey Sermon hasn't showed much at all. I don't think we'd release him. I think that's where the roster politics would play in right here. I think they'd probably keep Trey Sermon over Jordan Mason. But at the same time, you never know with Shanahan, because he let go of Joe Williams the second year in or something. So who knows? But let me pull up this Ty Davis Price run. This is what you want to see from Ty Davis Price, being that physical running back. This is what you want to see from him more often, and not just this dancing. Just hit the hole and put a move on somebody. Show your physicality that you're known for. So here we are. All right. Jason Poe leading the way, bounces it out, breaks an arm tackle, and then lowers his shoulder and trucks that dude. So that's what I'm saying. That's what you want to see from him. You know what I mean? That's what you want to see from Ty Davis Price.
And
you want to
I
see him
think
break those arm tackles and lower the shoulder to get some yards like that. That's what you want to see.
we probably won't see much of him this year, to be honest with you. Trey Sermon got benched and put in the doghouse last year because he did the same exact thing. He was bouncing instead of hitting the hole hard, which is what Shanahan wants. And that's why I think Jordan Mason makes the team, because he hits that hole. Like I mentioned in the pregame primer, that Baldy breakdown from last week, Ty Davis Price had these huge holes. Just hit it hard and fast, and you'll gain 8-9 yards. But he kept bouncing it. Yeah, I don't know. I think he might end up in the doghouse early on.
Yeah, I agree. Who's your next guy to look average?
So I'll take this guy because you took him last week, and you probably don't want to roast him 2 weeks in a row. Justin School, guy's coming off an injury, but I just don't think it's for him at the moment. He's probably the least competitive O tackle on the team at the moment. There was a sequence, back-to-back plays, where the first play he got like a penalty, and then the second play he gave up a sack, and it doesn't look good. He's on the fringe. We'll see if he makes it through this set of cuts.
Yeah. There's a tweet from Matt Barrows, and he said, pretty much it doesn't matter if it's practice or games. Justin School is on the ground a lot. So take that as you please. So just in school, one guy that I thought looked pretty bad too was Sutherland, the center, the backup center this game, who was playing for um, what's Jake Brendel?
Brendel.
Yep, Brendel. Yeah, this dude didn't look good. I felt like he was on his ass a lot. Definitely could look a lot better. What are your thoughts on Sutherland?
Yeah, I heard T.Y. McKeel's name like 80 times and he actually was tearing him up. Like, I think he had 2 sacks and he was just blowing him up every single play. Obviously that one fumble by Purdy on the goal line, obviously the guy was offsides when he blew up Sutherland, but he was blowing him up the whole game. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, so hopefully Jake Brendel doesn't get hurt, or else we're gonna be in for a long one.
And then my last guy that looked bad, which is unfortunate because I thought he was very encouraging last week, was Jordan Mills. He at first in the first quarter it looked like Burford was giving up a lot of pressure to me, and I was like, damn, what the hell's going on? And then people were posting on Twitter showing the clips, and it was Jordan Mills. I still think he beats out School for that job, but if he has to play a lot, it's going to be a little tough. Hi, Cora.
Sorry, daughter. Podcast bombed us. But yeah, Jordan Mills, that's a guy, who we thought it played extremely well the first week. And then, like you said, this week, definitely not up to the same level. So it'll be interesting to see if he can have a good bounce back week this next week against who is it, Texans, I think we're
Texans
playing
on Thursday.
on Thursday night. Yeah, so hopefully he can bounce back there. My last guy that I thought didn't look good, we kind of touched on it earlier, was Aaron Banks. I thought in pass pro, that's because when we were on offense, I was specifically watching our 2 guards, Burford and Banks, just to see, that's going to be the weakest part of the team this year. So I wanted to see how bad they were doing or how good they were doing. And I just felt like Banks was getting pushed back a lot, barely hanging on just enough to where he could avoid not like giving up a sack, but there's definitely a lot of pressures in there. And that's why I said that maybe we should give Jason Poe some run with the ones and see if he can hang with the big dogs, because Banks just, I don't know. What do you think about Banks? Banks just doesn't look very good to me, if I'm being honest. He looks in pass protection, he looks very suspect. And if you're blocking Aaron Donald, JJ Watt, if you're blocking those guys that we have to play 2 times a year, you're gonna have some trouble. Puna Ford, I even think on the Seahawks. You remember that little short dude?
Yeah.
Destroys us every year. And it's gonna be way worse this year if Aaron Banks is out there and he's playing like this.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with him. He's probably the biggest guy on the O-line, but he can't anchor in pass protection. When it's one-on-one, it's not good at the moment. And he's not playing, like you said, the stars and starters of the league. So it's tough.
Yeah.
He looks decent in run blocking, but when it's dropping back for the pass, it's rough. And was it him or was it Burford, that one play where they were like 8 yards in the backfield?
That was Burford.
I don't know. I don't know what happened on that play, man. But
yeah, I don't know if it was maybe a design or something, maybe like a screen on the backside, but that dude got blown up for sure. That wasn't the best look. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about Brunskill? Do you think if Brunskill gets back from the injury, maybe they try to throw him at guard? Do you think they try to stick him only at backup center, or what are your thoughts on Brunskill when he comes back?
I don't know. That's a hard one for me. I think
Because Brunskill did play right guard, not left.
Yeah, I think they're probably gonna just run with it and let it play its course. You know, he's going to start and they're going to go through the growing pains, hope he gets better. I don't think they're going to take him out. I don't know why.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else that you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Yeah, so a couple of players that were okay. You know, they had some highs and some lows that I wanted to touch on. George Odom, obviously, he's competing for the starting safety job for week 1 because Jimmy Ward will be out. He jumped a pass early. I believe it was a play that Drake Jackson got the pressure, and then he got the interception. So you'd like to see that. But when I've seen him in, you know, the open field, looks a little suspect. Like he takes pretty bad angles. His tackling looks a little suspect to me. So I'm still interested to see how that safety battle plays out because I didn't see much of Moore either in this game. And then another guy, Charles Omenihu. He has some inside out versatility on the D line. He was creating some pressure, but he was never winning. You know what I mean? Like he's around, but he's never actually there. So I want to see a little bit more for him because we heard he was supposed to have a breakout season this year. So just wanted to touch on those two guys.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Charles Omenihu, I think I agree. He played like okay. You know, you would expect a little bit more since he is playing against the second and third stringers. So you would hope to see a little bit more, but he didn't play like bad to where like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, we're like, that's not looking good. So that is what it is. Like we said yesterday in the primer, we're going to be doing another primer about an hour before kickoff Thursday night for the Thursday night preseason game, final preseason game. Hopefully we'll see some starters in that one. I'm pretty sure that's what the plan is, to get the starters some reps. Usually in the third or last preseason game, the starters play about a half. But I don't know if they'll do that this year since you're now at 3 preseason games and not 4. So we'll see how much time they get. But tune in to that primer. You know, we're going to go live. So we would like to talk to y'all, get y'all's opinions, answer any questions, just talk some ball, you know, so tune into that one. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers before the first regular season game, and we're at 80 right now, so we're 20 away. We're going to be doing a little giveaway once we hit 100 as well, so stay tuned for that. You got anything else?
Yep, my last video in this studio. So I'm gonna be doing like a little side. I don't know what I'm gonna do for this Thursday one, to be honest, but I'm not gonna have anything in here. Not even this table that I podcast on. So all my stuff's getting moved to Germany this week, and then after that video and the Sunday video, I'll be in an apartment. So gonna be changing studios for like the next 4 or 5 videos. But thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us. We're growing. Thanks for people that comment. You know, we would really love to have people on live with us. We want to talk. We love to talk 49er football. So please join us if you want to. So yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yep. Peace.
Bring it back. Money.